I got to keep moving, blues falling down like hail, and the days keeps on worrying me. There's a hellhound on my trail.
Welcome to Remnants. I'm Emily.
And I'm Kayla.
And it's 1,000,000 degrees below zero today.
Yes, so you should be very thankful that we are recording today because we had to venture out into the negative 10 degrees?
Yeah,
weather?
Something like that.
It's brutal.
Yeah, I thought my car was done for, but it managed eventually, after a couple treks, it managed to pull itself together, but it was a rough start. I thought it was going to blow up, and then I thought I was going to freeze, and I thought it was just going to stop in the middle of the road.
But here we are.
Here we are.
All bundled up. I haven't taken my stocking cap off.
I'm sitting on a heating pad. It's fine. Love it. It's so great.
It's so great.
Love the winter. Love Missouri.
I saw a funny meme this morning that said, it was like a picture of 100 degrees and then matched with this -10. It's like, if you can't love me at my worst, then you love me at my other worst.
Pretty much. That's Missouri. We get Missouri being great for I think 2 weeks out of an entire year, and we're like, man, it's beautiful here. It's so great. I love going outside and doing all this stuff, and then the rest of the year it's like this fucking state.
Yeah, you hold on to those beautiful 2 weeks in May and
I'm
in
just
October.
Envisioning spring right now. Just what was that like? It's like in Sam and Frodo are climbing up Mount Doom, and Frodo's like, I can't recall the taste of strawberries. That's me right now.
What is sunshine and happiness? I don't know.
I don't remember.
But hey. I wanted to talk. I've been wanting to talk about this the last couple episodes, but I don't even know if this is necessarily the right avenue. But I think it's funny. So, when you record yourself, you start to pick up on things that no one's ever told me, and I didn't realize about myself. But I can sound awfully bitchy sometimes.
You can.
And I don't mean to be.
I'm so glad you noticed.
I mean, there's so often when Emily's talking, and I'm like, no.
Maybe it's just when you're talking to me. Maybe it's just directed at me specifically.
No.
Are you sure?
I don't know. Your friends tell me. I'm like, have you ever noticed me sounding really bitchy before? I'm like, oh. Because I used to struggle to make friends as a kid, and I think it still was the shyness. A lot of people thought I was a snob, but I'm like, well, maybe when I did talk, though, they thought I was one.
Hey, Kayla.
She is a snob. So anyways, I apologize if you're ever like, wow, Kayla's so mean to Emily.
Yeah.
It's not intentional.
I
think I have resting bitch voice. That's my default, is
Yeah, whenever you're concentrating.
Yeah, if I'm just reading from my phone and not really noticing my inflection, I'm like, wow,
Maybe it's why it took us so long to become actual friends.
Yeah, because you just thought I was this.
Well, and I don't talk a lot either, so maybe it was just bouncing off each other.
Yeah.
This is fine, we're just both bitches.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a solid 3 years of knowing each other before we actually were like, wait, I like you.
So strange.
So strange.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Now here we are.
Here we are. We got a podcast together.
We braved the tundra to see each other.
I know. Yes, that is true friendship.
I got out of bed when that's all I wanted to do today was just be in my bed.
Yeah, honestly, it sounds... We almost canceled today to blame it on the weather, because...
Yeah, we were staring at each other over breakfast and are we doing this?
I guess.
Is this happening? Here we are.
Here we are.
For better or for worse.
Prepare. Well, I guess we'll just get into it so that we can, crawl back into bed sooner than later.
I mean, aw.
Shoot, I should have reread through my notes. I realized I haven't. This will
make it more fun.
This will make it more fun.
Neither of us know what we're talking about.
Nope. I was telling Emily, too, at breakfast, I think I just really love our investigation episodes.
Yeah.
Since we've been doing more of those, and so it's kind of hard to sometimes go back. Although we try to pick interesting topics and keep it interesting for y'all.
Yeah, it's still difficult.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
When we're not actually investigating a place and I'm just talking about a topic.
Yeah. And I'm so great at the research portion of this podcast. I love researching. It's my favorite. I need to pick what my research one's gonna be.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah, I went first, so
yeah,
you get to suffer through me.
Oh, your research is great. Mine's always kind of just like,
See, but we balance each other, so it's great.
Do we?
Sure.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So today's episode, I'm going to talk about the legend of one of the most influential musicians of the 20th century and master of the Delta blues style, Robert Johnson, and his supposed pact with the devil that made him talented overnight. So,
are we going to learn how to get one of these pacts with the devil? Fantastic, because I might need one.
I mean, got to know what you're giving up on the other end.
Watch
Salvation.
I probably don't have it already. Our podcast is going to become wildly successful after this episode. I'm like,
that's interesting.
I wonder what happened.
Kayla and Emily took a mysterious trip to Mississippi.
They just had a podcast episode about this guy, but that can't have anything to do with it.
Yeah. At the start of the episode, I read some of his lyrics from one of his songs, and I really wanted to actually play a clip of Johnson's songs, but they're not yet in the public domain, and I thought about reaching out to his estate to be like, what would it cost, but then that just seemed like work.
Like, hey...
I have a podcast.
We're going to talk about how you made the deal with the devil.
Because the family, of course, denies that this is...
right.
And, you can form your own opinion after I give you all the facts if you think he actually made a deal with the devil or not. But,
right.
But, of course, the family denies that, so...
Right, and I feel like our stance is going to be obviously the devil was involved.
Yeah, it's interesting. He is such a mysterious man, so part of that, there's not a lot of facts about him, like physical evidence we have of his life.
Yeah.
And so that kind of can lead to, well, myths to form around his talent, and it kind of, but then also the mystery, maybe there's a reason.
Right.
I don't know. You're going to have to form your own opinion after I bore you with all the facts and history that we do know.
I'm excited to hear it.
But I do encourage you guys to, if you are curious, to go. A lot of his songs are on YouTube, and it is, it's that Delta blues style, which I don't really know much about, but not a lot of artists were recorded back in the 30s, and especially, African-American artists. So it's actually pretty incredible that we've got songs recorded by him, and they're out there to listen to, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, the ones you played are really, really cool sounding, really pretty.
Yeah.
Very sad sounding, but obviously blues. But...
Yeah, and that'll kind of factor into some of the, myth around him too. So, if we go back to like the first episode of season 2, our Demons and Possessions episode, we talked about the 5 stages of possession. You got obsession, oppression, infestation, possession, and subjugation. And subjugation is the one where an individual intentionally makes a pact with a demon. And it's that intentionalness that's important because they're craving power. And so the devil takes advantage of that. And I'd kind of brought up Robert Johnson's name then and said, I want to talk about it in a future episode.
Right.
Here we are.
Future episode is here. God, that felt like so long ago, too.
I know, it kind of was.
We said future, we meant future, like real future.
I kept it in the same season, though.
That's true.
Our little hiatus has kind of extended season 2, but, it's all good.
We're getting there.
It's all good. So as I kind of said just now, there's not a lot of factual evidence about Robert Johnson. Like, for starters, he does not have a birth certificate.
Oh, okay.
So we don't know exactly when he was born. He does. There are 2 marriage licenses and a death certificate are the only, documents that prove he existed.
Jeez.
So most of the information of his life comes from, friends and family and his fellow blues musicians, but a lot of that's contradictory, which is kind of normal. I mean, friends have they remember things differently, or...
Right.
So a lot of the stories are...
That is interesting, though.
Yeah. They're pretty sure that he was probably born in 1911 because in 1912, the state of Mississippi started requiring birth certificates. So just based on what he said his age is and stuff, it's believed that he was born in 1911 near Hazelhurst, Mississippi.
That's a cool name.
He was the child of an affair that his mother had. Mother was Julia Major Todd. She had an affair with a local sharecropper, Noah Johnson. When Julia's husband, he was run out of town by a white mob, so he was up in Memphis for a while.
Oh, God.
And yeah, so that's kind of just all, it's all sad. He left, and then she has an affair, so then, Robert's born from out of wedlock, which of course is a big deal in 1911, and I guess especially probably as a, black kid too, so he was called like an outside child. That's what they called them.
Oh my God.
Back then.
That's so sad.
Yeah, super sad. And soon after his birth, his mother left her husband, and so his life was just characterized by moving around a lot, though he still received an education. So that was important to his mother that he got an education. He was the grandson of enslaved people, and so even though he was 4 generations removed from, slavery, still living in the South was definitely not easy for African Americans back then. But he knew he wanted nothing to do with agriculture, because that's kind of what they were all like forced into at the time.
Yeah.
So at the age of 16, he left home because he was just like called to music, and that's what he wanted to do. So he just went around playing. He first started with the mouth harp and a harmonica, and then he learned the diddley bow, which is it's a guitar of sorts.
Okay.
It consists of a single string of wire tensioned between 2 nails on a board over a glass bottle.
Okay.
So it's very like primitive looking, but
I've never heard of it.
yeah,
Diddley bow.
diddley bow. It's fun to say.
It is.
So yeah, it's kind of like just a primitive guitar in a way. So like I said, he left home at 16, and so this is in the late 1920s, and he sought out some local musicians, which were Willie Brown, Charlie Patton, and Son House, and he was like basically like, teach me, give me lessons. But the rumor is that they like kind of barely tolerated him because he actually was not very good. He was just an eager learner, and he was pretty good with the harmonica, but he was just really bad at the guitar. And so they kind of just stopped giving him lessons because you're not getting better, dude. Like,
oh my God.
Goodbye.
Oh.
So then he kind of moved town to town as a traveling musician. He would play street corners, parties, bars, and even people's porches. And then this is where the story gets interesting. So then he disappeared for about 6 months. And around 1930... he met up with Tommy Johnson and Pete Wheatstraw back in Hazelhurst, Mississippi. Interesting enough, Petey Wheatshaw's nickname was the Devil's Son-in-Law. So this might kind of play into the myth too. But and Petey and Robert often walked down to the local cemetery to play together into the night amongst the tombstones.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
I mean, can we honestly judge that though? Like,
yeah,
I feel like we would have done that.
Yeah. So it was kind of during this time when he's like hanging around with them that the rumor starts that he was just so desperate to become a great musician that he went to a crossroads deep in Mississippi at midnight and traded his soul for 8 years of incredible talent.
Okay.
So when he then returned home after this like 6-month period away,
right,
his arrival was legendary. His former mentors, Willie Brown and Son House, were playing a show in Bank, Mississippi, when Robert walked in, got up on stage, and played the guitar to an awestruck Willie and Son. Because when he had left home, he was not very good, wasn't talented, but then he all of a sudden returns, gets on stage, and plays like a master.
Huh.
And his talent just differed so much from his playing before that many people started to believe he must have sold his soul to the devil at the crossroads.
Obviously. You get better, and then that's the devil's work. That's not practice.
Yeah. No. So his fame grew immensely, and he also just was very charismatic and a great showman on stage and a ladies' man.
Yeah.
But his friends did say that he often would act weird after he returned home. Like, if Robert felt like people were watching him too intently on stage, then he would walk off, and he never agreed to teach other musicians. And he would only practice by himself. So,
that's interesting.
That's kind of odd. And then some of the titles of his songs and lyrics themselves kind of feed into the legend too. Like the one I read at the start of the episode, that song is titled Hellhound on My Trail.
Well,
You know, I was like, why are you writing about that?
yeah.
But you also could say it's maybe a social commentary on the time as a black man in the South.
Right, yeah.
You
That
know?
could just be, like, artistic choices. And,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, he hung out in cemetery, so maybe he was drawn to just darker themes anyways.
Right.
In addition to... The not wanting people to watch him and stuff was interesting, but he could have just been shy, maybe. Right. Or, like, nervous about that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Right. Like, I mean, like I said, there's just not... It leaves... Because there's not a lot of documented stuff about him, it leaves so much open to interpretation. But, yeah.
Did the legend, like... Did it form after he was famous? Or was it while he was...
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I'll get into that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, in 1936, he recorded quite a few of his songs. And then in 1937, he recorded 11 more tracks in Dallas for ARC Records. But that was the last time he would have his music recorded.
Okay.
In August of 1938, he was performing at a venue called Three Forks outside of Greenwood, Mississippi. And it was during his time there that he became too close to the owner's wife.
Uh-oh.
And on August 14th, the jealous owner gifted Robert with an opened bottle of whiskey. And the story goes from one of his friends that they knocked it out of his hand, saying, like, you never drink an open bottle of whiskey. And Robert goes, don't you knock a drink out of my hand. So he was given another opened bottle of whiskey, and he downed it. And by the time he stepped onto stage, he found it difficult to sing and actually stopped in the middle of the song and walked off stage outside. 2 days later, he was found dead.
He drank a bottle of whiskey?
Well, that's what the story says. Maybe not like
Oh, damn.
chug it all at
No
once.
wonder he died.
But it was, allegedly poisoned.
Right.
As revenge for being with the owner's wife.
He's just like, don't worry, you got rid of my one poison bottle of whiskey. I've got
I've
another.
got a backup.
He's like Yzma from The Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah.
He's actually just a llama now.
And, on his death certificate under cause of death, it just says, no doctor. So that also leaves up what actually...
Yeah, like, was he just sick for a couple days and nobody treated him?
Right.
Like, he could have had alcohol poisoning from the bottle of whiskey, and then nobody treated him and he died.
Yeah.
Or any number of things. No doctor could be anything.
Right.
That's so sad.
Yeah. So that even, is up for interpretation. But, and then also because this was the 1930s in the South, his death was not really investigated and wasn't really talked about at all either. It's just he was pretty famous within the blues community, but that didn't really extend far outside of Mississippi.
So yeah, he just died and that was it?
Well, no, there's a little more, which is kind of interesting. He kind of had a after his death, obviously. He kind of had a resurgence in his legacy because he has inspired musicians such as like Eric Clapton, Bob Dylan, Keith Richards, and Led Zeppelin, just to name a few. And ironically, he was 27 when he died, so that he is the first member of the infamous 27 Club.
Oh, okay.
Because he died exactly 8 years after he struck his deal with the devil. Allegedly. Yes.
The alleged deal with the devil.
But the kind of sad, but I guess it's still, interesting story. So, his life was cut short just a few months before he was supposed to play what would have been a life-altering performance at Carnegie Hall, organized by the legendary John Hammond, the music producer. And this was to take place in December of 1938, and Carnegie Hall was packed with a racially diverse audience, which is very rare for the time.
Yeah.
But John Hammond, he wanted to put on this performance to showcase black artists because he was just kind of a social activist, which was really cool for the time. But he didn't know of Robert's death until like right before the performance, because it just wasn't publicized.
Right.
John Hammond actually because they had some recordings of his music, he actually played his music for the audience on a a phonograph.
Okay.
And they're like primitive PA system for the audience to hear, which is actually like pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
that he didn't just like scratch him from the
Right. It's so sad he didn't wasn't
play
able
it
to do
live.
that. Yeah, but that is cool. He still played it, but
Yeah.
that makes it even more sad.
I know, right? Like other people clearly like recognized his talent. And so
And
I think
they weren't concerned it was from the devil.
yeah.
Apparently.
So really he was only, it was only like 7 years that he was like, famous in the blues community, and then struck down with a violent death.
I'm trying to think of what like modern day artist would have a comparable story where people would be like, there's no way that's them, that they made a deal with the devil to sing that well, which I know it's actually a lot of artists that people say.
Have you heard, like seen the original X Factor for One Direction?
Yeah.
They are not very good. You gotta give it to Simon Cowell for like seeing that they had some talent, and
So they all made deals with the devil.
yeah.
Harry Styles.
Well, some might say Simon Cowell's the devil.
That's true. Maybe that's actually what it was. Just Simon Cowell's a time traveler devil.
Do you think he'll let us make that into a show?
I hope so. It'd be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna write that show. It's gonna happen now. Yeah.
So kind of just like his quick rise to talent and then his untimely and violent death led to the perpetuation. Yeah. It was like, how do I say this? Of the legend of his deal with the devil. And some more of his lyrics that kind of play into this. So he has a song called Crossroad Blues, and some lyrics from that are, I went to the crossroad, fell down on my knees, asked the Lord above, have mercy, save poor Bob, if you please. You can run, tell my friend, boy, Billy Brown, Lord, that I'm standing at the crossroad. I believe I'm sinking down.
Wow.
And then he has another song called Me and the Devil Blues. And some lyrics from this one are, early this morning, when you knocked upon my door, and I said, hello, Satan, I believe it's time to go. Me and the devil was walking side by side. You may bury my body down by the highway side, so my old evil spirit can get a Greyhound bus and ride. So, some of his... And then there's the Hellhound on My Trail. That's what I read at the... So he's got a few songs that it kind of...
Yeah.
help lend, credibility into this mythology.
Or maybe he just thought very poorly of himself.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh.
And some of his friends say that he did talk about that he made a deal with the devil, but did he say that jokingly? Did he say that not jokingly?
Right, like, at a certain point, if somebody mentions the deal with the devil they made a few too many times, you're like, well, maybe he's being serious.
Yeah.
I don't know, he sure sings about the devil a lot.
But the legend of the crossroads, it's based on folklore of the American South that identifies a crossroads as a site where pacts with the devil or a Faustian bargain is made. The story goes that if you need something bad enough, you can make a deal with Elegba or Satan. And Elegba is an Orisha, or a god of the roads and the doors in West African religion. So you got to go to the crossroads at midnight, wait until a dark spirit shows up, and then that's when you sign your soul away in exchange for whatever gift it is that you want or need.
That's cool. I didn't know the part where it came from West African folklore too, which is an interesting thing to consider since it's such a common trope in blues music. I feel the crossroads and that symbology.
And maybe that's all that is it's just so that kind of
that's a tie I never knew existed though, so that's really cool to know.
Yeah.
I just have The Devil Went Down to Georgia just playing in my head on loop right now, by the way.
He was looking for you.
It's just nonstop.
Yeah, did that happen at a crossroads?
I don't know.
I mean, the crossroads can also just represent, an intersection of rural roads, and, it's kind of a landmark in the Mississippi Delta, because there are not a lot of landmarks, so in the flat plain.
Right, go to where the roads cross. It's the one thing that looks different for miles.
And it's also where a lot of people, because that's where roads intersect, like cars would slow down, so it's a lot of hitchhikers in that area because it's just easier to hitchhike.
I didn't think about that, yeah.
So kind of in its simplest interpretation, some historians believe like Johnson's just describing his grief at being unable to catch a ride at an intersection as the sun goes down as a black man, you know?
Yeah.
So you kind of can just, there's just a lot of different levels of meaning to mentioning crossroads in songs, and, you know, some people just have attached a supernatural significance to the song.
Right, because, I mean, like, plenty of, not just, like, blues musicians, but, like, writers in general, and people will have fixations on writing about, like, the devil and death and dark things, and it's not because they made a deal with the devil, it's just because that's a very good way to tie things back to how you're feeling or something like that.
Yeah, and you, like, grief or...
Right.
Just the hard times you're dealing with. Yeah.
Right, and if he's the kind of person that drank an entire bottle of whiskey, maybe he did have a demon, but it wasn't like a devil.
Well, and his first wife, she died in childbirth, and then the baby died soon after.
Right.
He had kind of already left them, too, so they were technically still married, but she had moved back in with her parents when she had the baby, so clearly there was a lot of issues
a lot of
there.
Sadness and everything.
So, yeah, he just kind of had... And that couldn't have been an easy childhood, like...
No.
His mom being a single mother, and he was born out of wedlock. I'm sure there was a lot of trauma with that we just don't have knowledge of.
It had to be, yeah.
It had to be, yeah. So, there's also... So, this myth, that some people say it kind of started, he would talk about, I made a deal with the devil kind of thing, but it also more... began after his death, and some historians think it could be that in the 1960s there's another Delta bluesman by the name of Tommy Johnson, no relation but same last name, and he legit promoted himself as having made a deal with the devil, but he wasn't nearly as successful, so some people think, well, maybe they just kind of blended
and
the stories together.
Was that just the marketing trend of the time? Like, well, I made a deal with the devil too, so obviously I'm gonna be a good singer.
A historian in the early 90s tracked down one of Robert Johnson's last girlfriends, Willie Mae, and like point blank asked her, like, did Johnson talk about making a deal with the devil? And she said, yeah, that's how he claimed he learned to play so well. So so who knows how much he promoted this story himself, or
like somebody claiming that that's how they learned to play so well, like, doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it is a fun story.
So I don't know, whatever the truth is, there, I mean, when you listen to his songs, there's kind of is a haunting, like, power and, like, supernatural aspect to his music, and, you know, it remains influential today. So,
so maybe you guys go listen to it. You know, the devil's taste of music is, I guess. Or that's just how he teaches people. Maybe like something else. But
that's what he really likes.
That's his personal favorite. So,
but you can actually, which maybe we'll have to do this someday. You can go see. There's a monument at the crossroads because they believe this happened at the intersection of highways 49 and 61 in Clarksdale, Mississippi.
Okay.
And there you'll find a monument of a trio of electric guitars on a pole, and there's like a sign saying that this marks the spot where Robert Johnson sold his soul to the devil.
It's pretty cool.
Just don't visit at midnight, because you might find a dark figure approaching you.
What if we do?
But what if we do?
We'll send you guys the link to the live stream when we go to the crossroads at midnight.
We do gotta get to the South. So I've never been to the South really, except New Orleans.
I haven't
or Nolans.
Nolans. I heard that sound again now. I'm like, what's happening?
That's fine. I mean, it is cold, so like pipes sometimes make weird noises when it's negative degrees.
My cat.
I keep hearing, like all day yesterday, there was this loud bang in my house, and it was like freaking me out. And then I finally realized it was happening before my furnace turned on.
Oh my god!
But the first time it happened, I mean, it like loud, like kind of shook the house a little bit. I was like, the poltergeist is getting stronger.
Did you just get your furnace like maintenance, or is that something else?
Yeah, I did, but I think because then I called my mom. I was like, "Do furnaces do that?" And she's like, "Yeah, ours did it too, like at their old house, not their new house." So I am in 2 weeks getting a quote for a new furnace because my furnace is pretty old. So much for saving money.
Sure, that'll be fun. Yeah, I'm glad. I think Because when I first turned my car on this morning, the heater was like squeaking, and I was like, this seems bad.
This is normal.
But the squeak was quieter by the second time I drove it, so I think it was just frozen. It was just like, ooh.
Please be okay.
Yeah, because I'm not going to fix the heater in this car. If it goes out, I'm either getting a new car or I'm going to be cold.
I drove without AC in my old car for quite a while. I don't know, that might almost be harder than no heat.
Yeah, I can't
No
decide
AC.
what's worse.
I guess no heat is bad because then you can't defrost your car.
That's true, yeah.
But with no AC, it was pretty shitty.
Yeah, there's like no good option in Missouri for either of those. Like, you need one or the other.
Yeah.
Basically.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
Love it so
Love
much.
it. So contribute to our Patreon so that we can go south for the winter.
Yeah, and then we can go make a deal with the devil, and then our podcast will get better.
Yeah.
For 8 years, and then we'll die.
Yay!
That's our 8-year plan. We were joking that my Sunday nihilism was a little strong today, so here we are.
Here it is. Yeah.
So
This is what we get when we record on Sundays.
love it. Sundays when what's the temperature now? Oh, it's -3.
Ooh, it's getting warm.
Wow. Look at that. Heating up. Oh my god, snow's back on the forecast.
Ew. Well.
Well,
This actually, I had joked that this maybe would be our shortest episode. It actually happened. Because a lot of times we say that, and it's not true.
yeah, I think today we like genuinely aren't as talkative as normal, so it's just
Well,
like
and his story is just kind of, it's shorter to tell. The more I was researching it, I was like, because I've seen his story talked about, on the History channels and stuff like that, and of course those always like, yeah, I made a deal with the devil, but the more I like researched about his life, it's like, oh, well, it was probably just a story told because it's fun.
But you probably like actually picked a good topic for one of these episodes. Like, finally we figured out the type of topic where we can actually keep it a shorter episode, which is kind of like
to balance out our hour-long episodes.
Yeah, the hour-long 4 to 5 hours to edit episodes.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So.
No, I liked this a lot, though. I really liked that story, and like I definitely learned stuff I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of opens up. Like, I guess I didn't like. Because then when I saw on something they were talking about, like, Elegba, and I was like, what's that? And so I Googled, and that's, like, it's a god. It's one of the 12 gods of the West African religion, or they call their gods, like, Orishnas. And so that was kind of like, I just briefly started reading about it. I was like, that's kind of fascinating.
Yeah, because I don't know much about that mythology at all, so that's really cool.
And then I had to look up, I was like, what's a Faustian bargain? And then I was like, oh, okay, I know that story.
I knew that one.
Mephistopheles.
That's kind of cool, too, because, like, in some ways that's, like, that's part of the American, like, folklore mythology almost, since ours is so, like, pieced together through, like, different cultures and everything.
Yeah, we're such
like
a melting pot, yeah.
Yeah, like the crossroads demon kind of thing is like such a common trope in our stories that's something that I feel like's part of the American culture.
Yeah.
Something like that. But no, I liked it.
So hope you guys learned a little something and you get a little interested in some Delta blues.
Yeah, gotta listen to some music.
Yeah. It is cool to listen to his songs, especially because they're kind of crackly, because it's old. It kind of gives them that little bit of spookiness, too.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it could be playing, like, in the background in a horror movie.
Right. Yeah.
But then when you know the devil wrote it. Or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, who really knows for sure?
But all we know for sure is that he taught him how to play the guitar.
Yep.
So.
Allegedly.
Oh, he did.
Yeah. So, anyways, you can... follow us on Instagram at Remnants Paranormal. We've been posting a lot of UVPs on there lately, so sorry if you don't like that.
All of our
Yay if you do, but like I still have more to post from Hall of Waters because we just got so much evidence there, so that's where you can see all those.
Maybe one of us has to play the guitar for a next reel.
Ooh, oh no, I gotta play a diddly bow.
A diddly bow, yeah, I think we can
make one.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm crafty enough to make one, but I can
my dad's a carpenter. He can make one.
Yeah, like, hey, Dad, can you make us a
diddly bow? He's probably, sure, I know how to do that. He randomly has, like, a talent for some stuff like that.
Your dad just becomes obsessed with diddly bows. so
Such
random.
a fun word.
I know, it's like,
Diddly bow.
we just have a whole episode on the diddly bow.
Diddly bow.
That was secretly made by the devil, too.
I mean, maybe. Who's to say?
I'm gonna have to find what a diddly bow sounds like.
Yeah. I think it's probably a lot of that kind of folksy southern sound. Like, I wonder if it was like a precursor to a banjo?
Maybe. Or maybe it's just like, it's basically a banjo, but it's how you make it if you don't have one.
Yeah, maybe we
Money.
could probably find diddly bow sound.
That's a modern one, but...
I mean, it's just got like the one string, so don't have a lot of note variation.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's like, it kind of sounds like, you know, when you like pull a straw out of a plastic cup.
So if you want a diddly bow, that's what you do. Just get your, or it sounds like when you get your zipper on your coat.
Yeah.
I've played the diddly bow.
Yes.
They look kind of cool though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
It's one that I could maybe master.
Yeah, maybe just.
Dude.
I can play one string.
I got it.
No notes, just one single note on this one
I
string.
can handle that.
Yeah, I could do that. Oh my god.
So, if you have any more topic ideas for us, let us know on Instagram, or you can email us at podcast.remnants@gmail.com.
Yeah.
As much as we would love every episode to be an investigation, it's just not possible. So,
Yeah.
we need some other ideas of stuff you guys want to hear about.
Yeah, what other spooky stuff do you want to know?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've got some more
Yeah, I've got stuff I'd like to talk about for sure.
so,
Yeah.
but help us.
Yeah. We need ideas and like if there's any sort of like at home experiment or investigation.
Oh, you know, we probably should. Our Haunted Dolls episode where that was going to just be kind of random, and it ended up, the Spirit Box session was
Yeah.
kind of legit. So
Yeah, if we
maybe
do
we
stuff
need to
like
do.
Ouija board or anything, we can do it at your house.
We can just go to a random bridge or a crossroad and do the Ouija board.
That's a great idea.
See nothing wrong with that.
Let's go somewhere at night and just summon a demon. I can think of I can think of a few crossroads that will probably encounter something bad,
Yeah.
whether paranormal or otherwise. If we want to just be scared.
I'd be well, it kind of goes back to Beatty Mansion. I think I'm way more scared of actual people than spirits. Yeah.
As you should be. We'll rent Sally House and then we'll pull the Ouija board. I think that's not allowed, actually. I think in the house rules they say no Ouija boards.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of shows have done that. Didn't they do that? Did the Paranormal Files do that, or am I making that up?
They might have done that because they were doing like a big Ouija board like documentary.
Yeah.
And now I can't remember if Sam and Colby did it or if they just had a birthday cake. I think they just had a birthday cake. But anyways, off topic. Here we go, rambling.
That's rambling for 10 minutes, but
I was just like determined to get us to 40 minutes on the time
we're
stamp.
so close.
So close.
We are, you can encourage us to, because we're pondering doing an overnight at Sally House.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you tell us, yes, you want to hear that,
Yeah.
then that will feel the pressure.
Maybe if you just catch me, we'll see how long this nihilistic mood lasts. Maybe I'll just be like, yeah, whatever, let's go. It's fine.
That's true. Maybe I need to get Emily on board
Sunday
now.
Emily.
Sunday Emily's all
Sunday
for it.
Emily needs to go to Sally House, and I'll be like, yeah, whatever, demon. I'm here. It's fine.
Well, they say that's some of it is like not giving it the power. So if you're just like,
oh, so scary.
you don't care.
They just need to go with the.
They can't possess you.
This is the attitude I needed to bring to Beatty.
Yes.
Just sit there like, whatever. It's fine.
Fine.
I don't care.
Stab me. I don't care.
Let's go. Let's do it. I'm ready.
I think they've raised their prices now.
Damn.
We already flushed so much money down the drain on that.
We sure did. Like, next time we go, we're not allowed to waste a single second. We have to be active and investigating the entire time.
At least we still got some stuff from there, but then it just makes me think what would have happened if we'd stayed longer. But whatever. It's too late now.
Possessed or something. Possessed or murdered by a ghost.
No.
Yeah.
Well, we hope you all are staying warm and cozy and safe.
Yep. We're at least safe, I think. Having to say that makes it seem not that way.
Do you ever know if you're really safe?
I always just assume no.
We'll see you in 2 weeks, hopefully.
What are we going to be talking about?
To be determined.
Catch you on the flip side.
Bye.
The flippity flop.
Flippity flop.
Catch you at the crossroads.
That's right. Ooh, that should be our catchphrase.
Yeah, catch you at the crossroads. Oh, God. Bye.
Bye.
I'd like to kiss you, but I just washed my hands. Bye.